Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about our first team basics video, talking about the Dark Elves. They're an agile, fast team with a violent streak. Let's find out more about them. Hi and welcome back. Today we're talking about those Dark Elves. They are a really fun team to play with and actually one of my most fun teams. When I first came back to playing Bloodbowl, this was the team I played to return me back to Bloodbowl. This was the first team I played on Bloodbowl 3 in any real depth. They're my comfort team, so let's talk about them and have a bit of fun with them. And let's get to know the positionals we do like and that we don't like. So if we go into the Dark Elves and the basic team, they're described as mastery required 3-star. A chance to have a look at them and go into them a bit more. The Dark Elves have a range of positionals that you can use to build up the team. They have rerolls of only 50k, you will need those, and you have 5 positionals to choose from. So let's go through them one by one. So the first positional is by far and away the most important positional. 100k, it's your blitzer. You can have up to 4 blitzers on a Dark Elf team, and a really good Dark Elf team will have 4 blitzers. They come with block, which is the greatest skill to start with for a player like this, because you will need it. But the best thing about the Dark Elf blitzers, they come with movement 7, so they really can rack around the pitch. And they have AG 2+, so you can dodge them, you can catch with them, you can pick up the ball with them, you can run them away from people to hit somebody else. Blitzers are great. You've got agility on a primary, which means 6 SPP in, which could be the first game or definitely the first couple of games if you go well with them. That's dodge. That gives you a blodger. Go well, 3 or 4 games in, you'll have 4 blodging blitzers with movement 7. That is absolutely the place you want to start. The Dark Elf blitzer, the best player on the team and the player you'll use a lot. So the next player that I would spend some time looking at as a Dark Elf coach is the lineman. You don't spend a lot of time looking at linemen on most teams, but the Dark Elf linemen are great. Movement 6, yes, that's average. 70k, ouch, that's a bit expensive. Armour 9, that's quite good. But the all-star stat for the Dark Elf lineman is that AG 2+. Agility of 2+ means your linemen are able to carry the ball. They're also able to dodge away from getting smacked. You will be dodging a lot with them, you will use them as ball carriers. They are great players. Up with the Dark Elf lineman. Now the next positional that we'll talk through is a Marmite player when it comes to Dark Elves. The Dark Elf runner. 80k, so that's 10k more than the lineman. You get that movement 7 back, you do have to drop some armour for it, you still get the AG 2+, but you do gain dump off as a skill. Now dump off is a really interesting skill. Dump off as a skill allows you to, if you are the ball carrier and you are blitzed, you can pass the ball in your opponent's turn. Yes, your opponent's turn. So if it goes well, you can get SPP in your opponent's turn and the player that got blitzed doesn't end up getting smacked with the ball. It goes to someone else and hopefully they catch it. Now the problem with Dark Elf runners is that that armour of 8 means if they get blitzed they may not be getting back up. And dump off is a wonderful skill unless people stack players around your player before you try and dump the ball off, and then you're going to be struggling to pass out with all those negative tackle zones on the pass. But I think it's a really great play and it's quite a good bailout as well. Now the next positional for the Dark Elves is without a doubt the most violent player that they have, the Witch Elves. They are absolutely meant to be the crazy player on the team, and they are. At 110k, they're even more expensive than the blitzers. You can only have 2 witch elves, which is probably good, because if you have too many, you're heading towards a very near-like Khorne team. Movement 7 is great with witch elves. AG 2+ is also continues to be great because you're going to be using that. Passing, don't worry about that. Don't think about passing with the witch elves. You can try and keep them alive because they've only got armor 8. They come with 3 great skills. Dodge. Use that to get away and get them into the right place. Also defensively when they get smashed, because they will get blocked because you've got frenzy. So your witch elves are your cage breakers, are your players to take down a streaking player. As someone runs away, frenzy is a wonderful skill to use because you can really go after them a bit more. And jump up is a fabulous skill because when they go down on the ground, you can get them up for free. You can block straight away, and that's actually 2 blocks, remember, because it's frenzy. Or more importantly, you can jump them up, reposition them and put them back. Witch elves are great. You will love your witch elves, and everyone else will love to kill your witch elves. And then the last, and by far and away the least player of the Dark Elf roster, is the Dark Elf Assassin. Coming in at an annoying 85k for making up a roster, they come with the movement 7 and the lost armor from the lineman. Passing 5+, again, don't worry about it. But they come with shadowing and stab. Now the shadowing works by taking the difference between the movement, and then you need to get more than 6 when you roll a 6 if you add that difference off. Shadowing will allow you to chase a player dodging away from you. Shadowing won't work that often though, and is rarely a successful skill more than once that you'll ever see it. Just slows the game down. Stab, however, quite an interesting skill. Stab will replace the block action and allow you to go straight to an armor roll. So stabbing a troll, still not great. Stabbing a gutter runner or a stunty player, really handy. Especially if that stunty player's got sidestep and dodge and you're really struggling to get them down. Stabbing them will probably get there with a low armor value. Stabbing multiple blocking against the stunty team, great. But what else does this player do? Nothing. This player doesn't do anything else. You'll very rarely see Dark Elf coaches taking this in the first, or even the 3rd, 4th or 5th players that they pick up for the team. So those are the 5 positionals for the Dark Elves, and you can definitely look at some different starting rosters with them. The first place you need to look with your Dark Elf starting rosters is your blitzers. How many blitzers are you going to take? 2, 3, maybe try and squeeze 4 in. But as soon as you start doing that, you're going to run out of money quickly. The linemen are expensive and you need some rerolls to start off with. You can try and squeeze a runner or a witch elf in. It's one or the other, don't try and squeeze both in. And you can absolutely play around with that in terms of how you go. So, Dark Elves in summary. They're without a doubt my favourite team. I've used them all the way through Blood Bowl history. Dark Elves also all come with strength 3, and that's really useful that you know exactly where you are with the strength in terms of what you're doing. The negative side of that is that you cannot have a strength 4 player on a Dark Elf team, and that's going to be a bit difficult to cope with when you've got some big nasty teams or there starts to be a lot of guard in your league. There's reasonably good star access, but they're all very expensive. You're not going to spend a lot of time with star players in Dark Elves, but you are going to spend a lot of time getting used to journeymen. You are going to have players out and injured quite a lot, particularly your lighter players, because of the way you will play with them. The runner will get smashed, we'll use dump off. The witch elf will get smashed because they're a witch elf. They do the smashing, they get handing back out the smashes as well. So you will get used to seeing journeymen quite a lot. And part of that goes to the fact that Dark Elves are agile and violent, and often that violence is against themselves. So one of the times that you'll find as a bit of a problem is that when Dark Elves are trying to get away and dodge away, you're rolling a lot of dice. Sooner or later you're going to start rolling those ones. Those ones are going to hurt you. You are going to start rolling ones, falling over. Those players are going to start missing games. That's the Dark Elf way. Just get used to it. You can play Dark Elves in several different ways. They're a really good running team. They can be a good passing team. They're a great defensive team because of the stats that you've got around the players. So really use them well. Speed and dodge of your team will allow you to reposition really quickly and get players back quickly for nearly everything other than chasing down a gutter runner. So enjoy them. The assassin is not a player you're going to see used very much, so don't worry about it. Learn how to play the Dark Elves without the assassin. Then use the assassin as a little bit of fun to see if it really works. And it's not all about the blitzers. Those Dark Elf linemen really can help you out. They can do things with the ball. They can absolutely skill up, and if you get them skilled up in the right way, they can be really handy. Couple of guard Dark Elf linemen, that'll really help with those Witch Elves and keeping them alive. So that's where we are with the Dark Elf roster. I hope you've enjoyed the look at the positionals and the detail. If you have, please leave a like and comment below on how you would play with Dark Elves and what team you'd like to see next.